How you turn off the camera, bro?
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we are going to begin with our misdemeanor expedited accusation calendar. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon after being booked in, the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, which is the prosecutor, has already accused the cases, and hence this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. If you are a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court with regards to your case especially during the course of this virtual proceeding, which is not only recorded but live streamed. If you make any statements during these proceedings about your case, anything that you say can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. So I highly recommend that you save any comments to have a private conversation with your attorney. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you, and that attorney will either be appointed from the Public Defender's Office or from the conflict defense list. Let me see. Ms. Bridgewater, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
And what is our reset date?
February the 1st,
Oh, that's
2024.
my goodness, we're already in February. Okay. All right, folks, today when I call your case, I am going to let you know what is the new accusation number that's been issued for your particular case. What are the charges that have been brought under that accusation? To let you know who is going to be your attorney. Unless you plan to retain one, you may qualify for the services of the Public Defender's Office today, or you may qualify for an appointed conflict defense attorney. In either event, you will have counsel to represent today unless you choose to waive your right to counsel. Also address the issue of your bond and any conditions that may attach to your bond. If one has already been set, we may go with the preset bond, or your case may be subject to a modification. In either event, whatever bond I set, conditions may apply, such as to stay away from the victim or stay away from the incident location, to do certain classes, and so forth. The types of bond that you may be granted would depend on many factors, including whether you have a significant criminal record history, the circumstances of the case, the alleged threat that you may pose to the community or to the alleged victim, the likelihood of the defendant to reoffend. Some individuals may get what we call a signature bond, and that could be either through the jail or through pretrial services. A signature bond is one in which you would not have to pay for the bond at the present time, but you would have to comply with the conditions of the bond in order to maintain its signature status. Any violations can result in a revocation of the signature bond and be converted to either a cash bond or a surety bond. The other type of bond would either be a cash bond or a surety bond. And for that particular type of bond, in order to secure your release, you would have to pay for the bond, either out of your own pocket or through a bonding company. For those of you who receive a cash or surety bond, your next court date will be February 1st, 2024 at 9 a.m. And that particular proceeding will be virtual. So if anybody plans to attend that proceeding, you would have to obtain a Zoom link from the clerk's office. Who do we have in courtroom 2, please?
Position number 2, Ms. Cato.
Thank you. We have Ms. Joanna Cato, who is accused of battery family violence from January 17, 2024. Her accusation number is 24 CR 396F. Ms. Cato, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Hoda Atai.
First arrest, level 1.
All right, thank you. Mr. Graham, what's your recommendation?
Recommendation, Your Honor, is signature bond through pre-trial, one-day anger awareness course, no further contact with the victim, Tiana Cato, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
All right. Any objection with the stay away and the no contact, Ms. Hatai?
I would ask that she be able to return to the home. I spoke with her mother who owns the home. She lives with her mother and father and the sister who's the complaining witness, but the mother stated that she is fine with her returning to the home.
Does the complaining witness live there, Mr. Graham?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'm not sure if our office has been in contact, but if we can sound for the victim.
Sure. Tiana Cato? Or anyone from the Cato family? You can unmute if you want to address the court. All right. The bond is going to be set at 20. And how old is your client, Ms. Atay?
She's 20. She's 22 years old, Your Honor, and she does have a 10-month-old baby that lives with her in the home.
This is going to be a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. She's to have no violent contact with Tiana Cato. She can return to the home where she shares with her family and with the child. Within 60 days of being released on a signature bond through pretrial, she will enroll in a 24-week domestic violence program.
Oh, Your Honor, I thought it was a one-day anger awareness.
No, this is family violence. This is a first arrest. And if she wants to go home, she needs to start taking classes. Unless you want her to go to an alternative housing, then we can modify that.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, so as I said, within 60 days, she would need to enroll in a domestic violence program. So by her third visit to pretrial, she must inform pretrial that she has enrolled in such a program and that she's attending the classes regularly. No violent contact with Tiana Cato means that there cannot be any physical or verbal altercations. Otherwise, she'll be arrested again and possibly be sent back to jail with no bond. Ms. Cato, once you are released on the signature bond, you have to report to pretrial once a month. You have to enroll in those classes within 60 days. And you have to maintain a current address with the courts at all times. And please make sure you do not get arrested again or you don't miss any court dates because those are also additional grounds to lose your signature bond. Thank you.
Is that a level 1?
Level 1, thank you.
Number 3, Clark.
Okay. This is Dante Clark, 24 CR 397Y, accused of simple battery family violence from January 5th, 2024. Mr. Clark, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Atay. Miss Clegg, are we here for a sign interpreter? All right. And I see we have a Spanish interpreter as well. Could the deputy in courtroom 2 let me know which cases are those for?
That was for my case, Your Honor. I believe I wrote it in the chat. It was position 13, I believe. Position 10, Lopez.
Yeah. Do you need to speak to your client?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right.
They'll be logging on in courtroom 3 shortly. Give them a
All
moment.
right. Thank you so much. With regards to the interpreter cases, if counsel have not had a chance to speak to your clients, we'll hopefully have them in courtroom 3 so that we can put the 3 parties in a breakout to have a conversation. Okay, going back to Mr. Clark. Mr. Howard, any priors?
6 total. 2023 criminal damage to property. That's open. That's a pretrial bond. 23 CP 220925 is the case number. 2022 failure to appear. 2019 probation. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, what's your recommendation?
The recommendation on this case, Your Honor, is signature bond through pretrial, FVIP, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with the victim, Tijon, Tijon, Childress, stay away from the location, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
You do realize that he's lost his signature bond in the felony case as a result of this new arrest. So is the state still recommending a signature bond?
My apologies, Your Honor. Just 1 second.
I mean, if the state's going to grant him another signature bond, that's
I'm sorry, Your Honor. We will not grant a signature bond. We'll ask for a $3,000 surety bond on this one.
all right. Ms. Satay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 27 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Georgia, a high school graduate. He did attend culinary arts school at Atlanta Technical College. He has been employed for the last 3 years as an auto mechanic. Is worried he may lose his job. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. I am asking for a signature bond through pretrial services level 3, as that is the recommendation. And I would object to the FVIP, but the one-day anger awareness is fine, and a stay away is fine. No further contact is fine. Nothing further.
What? Bond is set at $1,500 as a surety bond. No contact with Tijan Childress to stay away from the incident location. His next court date is going to be February 1st, 2024. The felony case is from 2023. He's had prior matters from 2022 and 2019. This is a consistent track record of reoffending, and Mr. Clark does not qualify for a signature bond. Thank you. Corey Davis, or is that?
Division 4, Davis.
Thank you. Courtroom 3, it looks like we may have Miss Kim's client there. Miss Kim?
Yes.
All right, is that your client?
Yes,
Position 10? All right. If the host would please place our Spanish interpreter, Miss Ada, courtroom 3, and Miss Kim in a breakout, please. Thank you. And courtroom 2, who do you have, please? Was that Corey Davis, Miss Atay?
Division 4, Davis.
Thank you very much. This is Corey Davis, case number 24CR398G, in which Mr. Davis is accused of criminal trespass and battery. This is from a January 17th, 2024 incident in Fulton County, Georgia. Mr. Davis, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Hoda Atay. And Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 30 total. Last arrest was on Christmas Eve for trespass. Just got put on probation for that on the 9th of this month. 2022 fade to appear. 2022 trespass, theft by taking, probation. 2021 given false name conviction. 2017 burglary conviction. That's all.
Mr. Graham?
Yes, Your Honor, brief facts of the case. This incident took place January 17th, 2024. Mr. Davis was at the home of Tina McKinney. They were formerly in a relationship. They got into an argument during which he grabbed her by the neck and struck her on the right side of the face using an open hand. The officer did observe markings on the neck, swelling on the right side of her face, and a small laceration on her chest just below the neck. Additionally, Mr. Davis, after walking out, Miss McKinney closed the door, then he forced the door open. The officer did also notice frame damage to the door and some residue from the door damage on the ground. Our office has been in touch with Miss McKinney. She told us that they were in a relationship for approximately a year. They have no kids together. She does have 2 other kids that reside in her home. And that she and the defendant no longer reside together. She confirmed the events in the warrant. This is the second time that the defendant has broken the entrance to her home. And she's able to close it, but we'll need to get it fixed. We are asking for $2,000 surety bond, anger awareness course, no further contact with Tina McKinney, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
All right, thank you. And that's 1,000 on each count?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss Tina McKinney, I do see that you're on the Zoom. Did you want to address the court? Otherwise, you are free to remain silent. All right, Ms. Atay, any response?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 39 years old. He's a lifelong resident of Georgia. He graduated from Southwest DeKalb High School and then attended trade school. He has been working as an audiovisual engineer for the last 10 years. He does support 5 children with his income. He does qualify for public defender services, and understands his obligation to return to court. I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services, level 3, as that is the recommendation. A 1-day anger awareness is fine, and a stay away and no further contact is fine, and nothing further.
All right. Mr. Howard, when was he placed on probation and in which jurisdiction?
Who is it, Davis?
Yes.
January 9th. It was us. 23 CR 008 155D as in David.
155D.
Correct. When was January 9th? I think that was last, Tuesday?
Mhm.
Yeah.
155D.
SAP last Tuesday, sound like.
Mhm. Was this an Orca calendar?
Probably SAP. Because he got arrested December 24th. So, yeah.
This is an incident from December 20th, 2023, criminal trespass and, okay. With regards to this particular case, the original bond was $20,000, but I guess the state's recommendations too, so we'll issue a $1,000 surety bond on each count. That's a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with Tina McKinney. Yes, can we unmute courtroom 2? Mr. Davis, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. What the guy was just calling out for is January the 9th. I haven't been in trouble at all. So
Hold on for a minute.
I have to be a different person because that's.
Yeah,
Yes.
hold on. Hold on. Is this J
Yes.
Davis or C Davis? Because I don't have my
C.
calendar.
Davis, C. Davis, and I believe
Corey Davis.
Okay. Okay, let's back up. That was for J Davis. I'm sorry. I don't have my calendar, Judge.
Okay, so is
C
that the
Davis.
same? This is Corey Davis. Date of
Okay.
birth is January.
No, I got it. I just gave you the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Okay, so can I
All
have
right.
his,
I
can
got
I
you.
have
20
his,
total.
20 total, okay?
Correct. Last arrest 2023, suspended license. He got an open possession of cocaine, possession of MDMA, window tint. That's 22 CP 212306.
306.
Another open,
Oh, go ahead, 212306, got it?
got an open ag assault, 23 SC 190909. 2021 battery DV, 2016 ag assault first offender, 2015 failure to appear, 2015 obstruction conviction.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Ain't any better.
All right, is that the GCIC that the state has? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and so we will go with the $2,000 surety bond. And that would be a no further contact with Tina McKinney to stay 200 yards away from Miss McKinney and the home which he shares with Miss McKinney. He's allowed a one-time visit with a police officer to go and retrieve his belongings. But after that, he is to stay 200 yards away and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Cannot be contacting her in person, through the mail, through email, phone, cell phone, social media, third party. And he definitely cannot be living in the same house with her until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms. And his next court date will be February 1st. Thank you.
Position 6, Mr. Farley.
This is Philip Farley, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, thank you. Case 24 CR 400J, accused of simple assault from October 20th, 2023. Mr. Farley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be
Keith Cook.
oh, there you are, Ms. Cook, sorry. Cook, thank you.
Sure.
Your attorney is Mr. Keith Cook. And Mr. Howard, any prize?
Yeah, I got an open case, 23 SC 189174. For
One-
obstruction, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, possession of drug-related objects, conspiracy to commit a felony. That was from, yeah, this was level 3.
All right. Mr. Graham, yes, sir. And what is the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. Briefly, this incident took place on October 20th of 2023. Mr. Farley and I believe his supervisor, Shavontae, Chevontaie Lewis, were having some issues with his new position. He didn't want to comply with some instruction that she gave him. She asked him to clock out and leave the store. He became angry and told her he was going to wait outside to beat her up. Upon her exit, he was waiting outside. He began yelling and walking up to her, intending to fight. She was able to walk to her vehicle with a security guard in place and other bystanders that held him back. Mr. Farley did he continued to yell profanities and obscenities, and he threw an unknown liquid into the face of Ms. Lewis. At that point, the witnesses were able to hold him down so she could get into her car and leave the area. This took place at the CVS pharmacy on 2429 MLK Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. Our office hasn't been able to be in touch with Ms. Lewis, but if we can sign for the victim at the end of the presentation, I would appreciate it. The state is recommending $1,000 surety, anger awareness course, no further contact with Shavontae Lewis, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Shavontae Lewis? All right, Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor, we dispute the narrative as related. My client is 37 years old. He's been a lifelong resident of Atlanta. He's currently an operations manager at Kroger. There was some altercation. At some point, the alleged victim pulled a gun on him and he ran. There's some question about whether there was a liquid and what it was, but I don't believe anyone determined that it was anything of any danger. But we have no problem with the no further contact or the stay away or the no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. We would be looking for a signature bond. He has a child, 6 years old, that lives with him, and he needs to get back and get back to work at Kroger.
So
Would
he
it be
doesn't work at the CVS pharmacy?
Not anymore, no.
Okay. The bond is going to be set at $1,000 surety bond. No further contact with Shavontae Lewis, Chebontae Lewis, common spelling, to stay away from 2429 MLK Junior Drive in Southwest Atlanta, specifically the CVS pharmacy at that location. No illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, and no alcohol. His next court date is going to be February 1st. If he makes bond, he is required to make sure that he complies with the conditions and that he maintains a current mailing address with the court at all times. Thank you.
Position number 1, bail.
This is State versus Leon Bell. Mr. Bell's case is 24 CR 395Y, in which he's accused of battery, simple battery against a police officer, and criminal trespass from January 17th, 2024. Mr. Bell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Mr. Howard?
10 total. Last arrest was 2023. Theft by receiving 2 counts, suspended license. It's 23 CP 221691. Appears to have an open ag assault in DeKalb County. And the open criminal damage to property, 23 CP 216744.
216744. So
Correct.
2 felony cases and,
Yes,
all right.
2022 failure to appear.
216. Oh, okay.
2015 shoplifting first offender. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident took place on January 17th in 2 locations. The first 915 West Peachtree Street Northwest in Atlanta. Law enforcement responded to the location after Mr. Bell had been asked to leave once, and he returned to the property he was asked to leave by the security guard, Mr. Victor Brooks. There was an altercation between the two, resulted in a scuffle, and Mr. Bell punching the security guard in the face, resulting in an injury to his nose. By the time the Atlanta police arrived, the security guard, Mr. Brooks, had Mr. Bell under control. He was arrested and then transported to Grady Hospital for injuries. At Grady Hospital, the nurse requested that Mr. Bell be uncuffed so she could examine the injuries to his hands. After the examination concluded, Mr. Bell refused to put his hands behind his back to be cuffed. After some resistance and assistance from Grady security, Mr. Bell was recuffed. While standing him up, Mr. Bell lunged at the officer twice, yelling profanities, and then spit in the officer's face. The state is recommending a $3,000 surety, $1,000 on each count, anger awareness, no further contact with Victor Brooks or Officer Carter. Stay away from the Peachtree Street location, 915 West Peachtree Street Northwest. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
Okay. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 29 years old. He's lived in Georgia all his life. He is a graduate of Clarkston High School. He is currently homeless. He does deny the allegations in the warrant. He's recommended UJR level 3, so I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. Because he's homeless, he wouldn't be able, I think, to complete anger awareness or anything like that. So I would just ask for a signature bond through pretrial services. Nothing further.
Bond is we set at $3,000 surety. Is a $1,000 bond on each count. No further contact with Victor Brooks. No violent contact with Officer Carter. To stay away from the entire location known as 915 Midtown Apartments and the parking deck as well, which means that he has to stay 200 yards away from the location address of 915 West Peachtree Street, which includes the entire apartment complex and the parking deck. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and his next court date will be February 1st. Thank you.
Position number 5.
Is the attorney on for the ASL client?
No, that's Mr. Murphy. He's not on yet. Supposed to come on around 2:00.
Well, the interpreter case is ready.
All right, let's go ahead and take the interpreter case with Miss Kim. And that was position number 10.
Yes.
All right, Miss Ada, there you are, okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
place you on the
I left the meeting by mistake. I'm sorry.
All right, that's all right. May I place you on the oath, please? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you translate will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
I do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is position number 10, State versus Ricardo Lopez, charged with battery from January 17th, 2024.
Este es el caso de la posición número 10 el Estado contra Ricardo López, que es por agresiones, el cargo es agresiones y golpes, y es del 17 de enero del 2024.
His case number is 24 CR 404G.
El número de casos es el 24CR 000404G.
This is an active misdemeanor case against Mr. Lopez.
Este es un caso de delito menor activo en contra del señor López.
He has a right to remain silent. Anything he says in open court, his statements can and will be used against him.
Él tiene derecho a permanecer callado. Cualquier declaración que él haga aquí en esta audiencia, aquí ahora, puede ser usado y serán usados en su contra.
He has a right to counsel. If he cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent him, and his attorney is Ms. J. Kim.
Él tiene derecho a tener un abogado. Si él tiene los medios para buscar un abogado, se le llama un abogado de oficio. Su abogado, defensora pública, es J.K.
Right? Mr. Howard, does he have any prior criminal convictions?
No.
Que si tiene algunos antecedentes penales, acaban de decir que no tiene antecedentes penales.
Right. And Mr. Walker, what is the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor,
La
definitely. In this
recomendación.
case,
Sorry, Mr. Walker, sorry about that. Please
In
correct
¿Cuál es la
us.
¿Cuál es la recomendación del Estado? El señor Walker va a dar la recomendación que presenta la Fiscalía.
in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to the LA Fitness, 1475 Holcomb Bridge Road.
En este caso, la policía la enviaron al LA Fitness, que queda en el 1465 Holcomb Bridge Road,
Where they spoke with the victim, Salvador Duarte,
donde hablaron con la víctima, Salvador Duarte,
who advised that the defendant approached him, asked him why he was staring at him, and then punched him in the face.
que dijo y le dijo que le preguntaron qué había pasado y dijo que el acusado le había dicho que él se le había quedado mirando y entonces el acusado vino y le pegó en la cara.
Law enforcement did observe the visible injury on the victim's face.
Y los agentes del orden público vieron que observaron una lesión en la cara de la víctima.
The state is seeking a signature bond through pretrial services, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location,
La
anger
fiscalía está
awareness.
pidiendo que se haga una fianza bajo palabra, que se mantenga alejado del sitio donde ocurrió esto, que no tenga contacto con la víctima y un programa de intervención.
An anger awareness course, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond.
Y también un programa de control de temperamento, que no puede usar ni tener posesión de alcohol ni de armas mientras esté bajo la libertad vigilada o libertad bajo fianza.
And we will sound for the victim, Mr. Salvador Duarte.
Anunciamos aquí a la víctima, señor Salvador Duarte.
Mr. Duarte, if you're present, you can unmute and start your video. I really don't see anyone with that name.
Señor Duarte, si usted se encuentra presente, puede activar prender la cámara y activar su micrófono y puede
Oh.
decirnos si está presente o no.
I'm sorry, there is one. iPhone de Salvador. Is that Mr.
Okay.
Duarte?
El teléfono que dice Salvador iPhone, por favor, señor Salvador, si usted está presente, ese es el señor Salvador Duarte, active su micrófono y prenda la cámara si está aquí, que la juez le está ordenando que haga eso, por favor. Señor Salvador.
Can you ask him to unmute?
Por favor, prenda el micrófono.
Sí,
Yes.
Mr. Duarte, do you speak English?
¿Usted
no,
habla inglés? No, ok. Señor Duarte, espere siempre que yo interprete antes de contestar. No, Your Honor, he doesn't speak English.
All right. Do you have anything to add to this case with
¿Usted
regards
tiene,
to Ricardo Lopez and the incident at LA Fitness?
¿Usted tiene algo más que añadir en este caso en contra del señor Ricardo López, el incidente que ocurrió en LA Fitness, en el gimnasio? ¿Tiene algo más que decir o añadir?
pues no sé qué decir, pues nomás él
Hang on. Is he wanting to say something about the case?
¿Usted quiere decir algo acerca del caso?
pues nomás que se haga justicia por lo que me hizo.
I need to
No, I
place
just
him
want,
under. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Madam Interpreter, go ahead.
He just wants justice for what he said to me, for what he did to me.
Okay. Could he please raise his right hand?
Levante su mano derecha, por favor.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
¿Usted jura que el testimonio que usted va a proporcionar aquí es la verdad según lo que usted sabe?
Ujú. Sí.
Tiene que sí, okay, yes.
You can put your hand down.
¿Puede bajar la mano?
Do you know Mr. Lopez from a prior occasion?
¿Usted conoce o conoció al señor López de una vez anterior?
Pues sí lo miraba en el gimnasio también, ahí iba, pero sí, pero sí que nunca habíamos tenido así que acercado, yo nomás iba entrando y
Okay, espérese un momentito. Espérese un
Ujú.
momentito. Yes, I have seen Mr. Lopez from previous occasions at the gym. I was just entering the gym. Continúe.
Y entonces su hermano me mentó la madre y entonces yo me le quedé viendo así a él y dijo que aquel dijo que por qué me le quedaba viendo y
Okay, his brother said a vulgarity to me. You know, he said, "F your mother," and then he just started looking at me. Continúe.
y entonces andaba también con su tío y su tío se vino también así sobre que para qué me les quedaba viendo pero como ya me maltrataba yo no me lo arrendé a ver.
Okay, el tío también.
Sí.
And then his uncle also was there and they were mistreating me. And then I was just there. Continúe.
Okay, only thing I want to know is, does he know Mr. Lopez prior to the encounter at LA Fitness?
Okay. Lo que quiero saber es que si usted conocía al señor López anteriormente, antes de lo que ocurriera en el LA Fitness. ¿Usted lo conocía a él antes de eso?
Nomás lo miraba así ahí, pero nunca platicamos ni nada. Yo
Okay,
llegaba a lo mío.
I just saw him there, but we never talked there. I will just get to the gym and be there.
So you've never met him you've never spoken to him socially ever before?
Entonces, anteriormente usted nunca habló con él de una manera social, antes de que ocurriera lo que ocurrió.
No, nunca.
No, never.
Do you know any of his family members, any of his friends?
¿Usted conoce a los miembros de la familia de él o alguno de los amigos de él?
No los conozco.
All right.
I don't
thank
know
you.
him. I don't know them.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I'm sorry. Well, Miss Kim, yes. I think the state was saying a surety bond, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I thought it was a signature on bond through jail
Creo
because
que,
recommended
okay.
for signature on bond through jail.
No, it's a signature bond through pretrial services.
That's what I thought it was. So, Miss Kim, what is your recommendation?
Signature on bond through jail as he's recommended for the
Okay.
his
Mi recomendación es una fianza bajo palabra, aunque la fiscalía está buscando una fianza de seguridad por medio de la cárcel de fiador.
For Mr. Lopez, the bond is going to be set at $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services.
Ok, el señor López, la fianza que le pusieron son $4,000 por medio de una fianza bajo palabra o bajo firma por medio de los servicios de la cárcel.
You are to have no further contact with Salvador Duarte.
No puede tener ningún tipo de contacto de aquí en adelante con el señor Salvador Duarte.
You are to stay 200 yards away from him and not contact him in person.
Usted tiene que mantenerse 200 yardas alejados de él y no puede contactarlo en persona.
You do not contact him by a third party, by mail, by email, by phone, by computer.
Tampoco lo puede contactar por terceras personas, por correo electrónico, por teléfono, por mensaje. No puede contactarse con él de ninguna manera, señor López.
And even on social media, no contact.
Y tampoco puede contactarlo por medio de redes sociales. Ningún tipo de contacto en lo absoluto con el señor Duarte.
If you attempt to contact him in any way or even through a third party, you could be back in jail with no bond.
que usted trata de comunicarse con él o contactarlo con él, ya sea por medio de terceras personas o de cualquier otra forma, entonces va a estar de vuelta a la cárcel y no se le va a poder dar ningún tipo de fianza para que pueda salir bajo fianza.
You are to stay away from all LA fitness businesses.
Tiene que mantenerse alejado de todos los locales de LA Fitness, todos los locales de LA Fitness.
You're not to enter any LA fitness facility at all.
No puede entrar en lo absoluto a ningún local de LA Fitness, en lo absoluto.
No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms.
No puede tener ningún tipo de drogas, ni alcohol, ni de armas ilícitas, ni de ningún tipo de armas de fuego.
You report to pretrial once a month.
Tiene que presentarse una vez al mes a la conferencia antes del juicio.
You are to bring a friend with you who can help you understand the English language.
Tiene que traer un amigo con usted que lo pueda ayudar a entender el idioma de inglés.
If you get arrested again, if you don't report to pretrial or if you don't report to court,
Si a usted lo arrestan otra vez, usted no se presenta cuando le manden de nuevo a comparecer a la corte o con los servicios previos al juicio, con cualquier tipo de servicios que le manden a presentarse.
or if you violate any of the other conditions of the bond,
O si usted incumple con cualquiera de las condiciones que le he fijado anteriormente para esta fianza,
your signature bond will be revoked and you will be arrested again.
le van a revocar la fianza bajo palabra o bajo firma y lo van a arrestar de nuevamente y meterlo en la cárcel.
Mr. Duarte, this is an active criminal case.
Señor Duarte, este es un caso penal activo.
You can contact the Victim Advocate's Office at the Solicitor's Department.
Usted puede contactar la oficina de partidarios de víctimas en la oficina del fiscal estatal.
If Mr. Lopez or anyone on his behalf attempts to contact you,
Si mi señor López, cualquier persona por parte del señor López trata de contactarse con usted,
you must report the matter immediately.
usted debe informar de este asunto inmediatamente.
Thank you.
Gracias.
All right, Mr. Duarte, you're free to go. Ms. Kim, do we need the services of a Spanish interpreter any further?
Not that I know of, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Ada, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you. El señor Duarte ya se puede retirar, ya todos se podemos retirar en este caso. Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
We have, who is representing the individual who needs services of a sign interpreter?
Mr. Murphy is supposed to log
$2,000
on.
le dieron, no me lo dieron.
All right, our interpreter is gone, so will the host please remove? Okay, thank you, that'll be better. Who is the attorney for the case in courtroom 3? Ms. Kim, is that you as well?
I believe it is a private attorney, Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Dennis Murphy, are you present?
Judge, he's gonna log on shortly.
Okay. Ms. Clegg, we'll hold. All right, thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Position number 5.
All right. This is State versus Masui Demos, case number 24 CR 0003999J. Mr. Demos was arrested from a traffic incident on January 17th, 2024. And there are 5 charges stemming from this incident. They are impeding traffic flow, willful obstruction of an officer, possession of an open alcohol container, 2 counts, and driving under the influence of alcohol less safe. Mr. Demos, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney will be Mr. Keith Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2019 DUI conviction out of Cobb County.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement approached the defendant as he was stopped at a green light in an intersection. Upon approaching the vehicle, it was determined that he had an open container of alcohol in his vehicle. When he stepped out, the odor of alcohol emanated from his person. It was determined that he was a less safe driver. To the one count of DUI less safe, the state is asking for a $1,500 surety. To the other outstanding charges, we are asking for a $500 surety on each count. We are asking for an alcohol drug evaluation, no driving, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And could I modify that? No driving unless it's to work, court, or medical, is what I meant to say, Your Honor.
Well, as far as I know, on a DUI, he's only allowed to drive for 30 days. And if he files an appeal with the Office of State Administrative Hearings, then it's up to that judge to decide whether he is going to be able to drive. So I'm not granting a limited permit on a second DUI arrest. All right, Mr. Cook?
Your Honor, we have no objection to the alcohol and drug evaluation, and certainly no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. We would ask for a signature bond as recommended by pretrial level 1.
Okay. On the DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, that's going to be $2,000, and that's a surety bond. On the impeding traffic flow, that's going to be 500. The willful obstructions, 500. The possession of open alcohol container, 2 counts, is 500 each. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. His total bond is a $4,000 surety bond. Absolutely no driving unless the Office of State Administrative Hearings grants him a limited permit through an appropriate administrative hearing. But from this point onwards, he's not allowed to drive. He's not allowed to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or firearms. Next court date will be February 1st.
Position number 8.
Mr. Ahmad Holyfield's case number is 24CR402C, accused of possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under the age of 18 and possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce from January 17, 2024. Mr. Holyfield, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney will be Mr. Keith Cook. Any priors? As an
No.
adult?
No.
I
Okay.
believe it was my case, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Miss Kim, is that your client? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
And so is Miss J. Kim. All right.
Keith Cook.
Mr. Walker?
Yes, law enforcement was at the Munchies located at 1294 Donnelly Avenue when they approached the defendant because he had marijuana crumbs on his person or on his pants, I believe. He was sitting at a gaming system. As he was detained, 4 grams of marijuana was found, and Glock 22 40 caliber handgun was recovered along with the extended magazine. To the count of
With
possession
an
of
extended magazine. I just want to be sure you said that. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Your Honor. Yes.
Okay.
To the 1 count of possession of a pistol, we are asking for a $15,000 surety. To the marijuana, we are asking for a SOB through the jail. We are asking for a stairway. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while on bond. As he is under 18, he shouldn't have those anyway. And we are also asking for a 7 p.m. curfew.
All right. Is anyone here on behalf of Ahmad Holyfield other than his attorney?
I believe his
Yeah.
mother was here.
How you doing?
I can't see you,
How
so
you
I
doing, Jay?
don't know who I'm talking to.
I'm here also. His
I
dad.
can,
How you start this? Give me 1 second.
ACA Howard is his mother.
Yeah,
I'm here
she's
as well,
online
yes.
Also. Yeah.
all right, who would like to speak first?
I would like to speak. This is a
Raise your
first
right hand.
instance. I'm sorry.
Are you other right hand?
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Yes, I've just been informed this is his first adult offense, and he started it off on a royal standard. So what would you like me to know?
Just to know that this is something that took me by surprise. He's not a troubled kid. Very very mannerable, respectful young man. I'm unaware of how he, obtained this firearm, and I'm very disappointed, but this was not to my knowledge. I just know that he's a good kid, and this was the first time, so it was a surprise to me.
Mr. I'm sorry, what was the father's name?
My
Sir?
name is Michael Holyfield.
Okay, all right, sir, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? And what would you like to tell me, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I want to get first I want to go into his background, even from elementary to middle school all the way up. He's always been in a private school environment. Even with his record, never no fights or anything like that. Never had any police involvement whatsoever. Now, I understand that they're asking for some kind of cash, the bond, but financially, our family, we're going through a very bad crisis right now. I just lost an uncle and a auntie just this week. We got to bury them both Saturday. So we very tight on money. This is unfortunate, and I apologize to the court that my son was out there, had no business doing what he did. He just got out of military school a couple of months ago. Just graduated from there. Had a job at Chick-fil-A. He been doing good. He just made a mistake with the wrong crowd. I can assure you, if you can get him out of there on a signature bond, you will never have to see him again as far as just when we come back to court for you, okay? If you could, I just asked the judge, the court, can y'all please be lenient towards my family? And I'll take into consideration that he hasn't had any background whatsoever.
You do realize that the prosecution is asking for a $15,000 bond.
Yes, ma'am. And
if this was a felony charge, if that weapon had actually been pointed to someone, then you'd be looking at no bond.
I totally
I
understand
want you
that.
all to understand that I see a lot of cases with minors and individuals over the age of 18 with weapons. And this is one of the very few occasions that I'm actually hearing about an extended magazine involved. So this is not just a gun. This is a gun with a very, very potential for very lethal impact. And I want to know what a young kid with an alleged record like the ones you all have described is doing in a gaming room with marijuana and a loaded weapon with an extended magazine. Now, do you see the picture I'm painting?
Yes, ma'am. I totally understand.
Do you see the picture I'm painting?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
And
I'm sorry, Miss Kim? Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. He is 17 years old. He was very good at science and football. I really don't think this is just one-time incident.
That he was caught at. That's the way I look at it. This is the one-time incident where he was caught.
Well, he just got home. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm not asking you for any more input. One more word out of the parents, and it's a no bond.
Maybe he can
Yes,
get
Miss Kim.
bond through level 3, pretrial level 3, Your Honor, even level 4,
All right.
considering their financial situation.
Financial situation is just one of the factors. It's not a primary writing factor. What I have to consider also is the potential and the threat to society, as well as the gravitas of the situation. What I have is a person under the age of 18 in possession of a very lethal weapon with no rhyme and no reason. None. And then to compound that, he's in possession of an illegal drug. Yes, I know it's a recreational drug in many states, and I'm willing to accept that. Unfortunately, this is a state that has not accepted marijuana as a recreational legal drug. So he's not in violation of one law, he's in violation of two laws. So I do understand that if he is a kid with a stellar record, and if he has a wonderful school record, and he has a wonderful behavior record, but from that one occasion, he has just nosedived his entire credibility, his reputation, and possibly his future. Sir, I can lecture to the nth degree, but at the end of the day, you're dealing with both your parents on Zoom. And that's who you have to deal with. And that's the legacy that you're carrying for the rest of your life. Okay, whether this case gets resolved in your favor, this is the moment they will always remember how you're being publicly humiliated on live stream. On the possession of a pistol, that's going to be a $5,000 surety bond. On the misdemeanor possession of marijuana, that's a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. His next court date is February 1st. He is not to possess any weapons or any firearms. No alcohol consumption, no illegal drug consumption, which means no marijuana as well, because that is still against the law in the state of Georgia. Now, Miss Aisha Howard or Mr. Michael Holyfield, who would like to come down and co-sign his bond? All right. If you go through a bonding company, this is a surety bond. So, all right. You know what I'm going to do on the misdemeanor possession of marijuana? This is going to make it even easier. This is going to be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial services. So, Miss Howard, you're going to come down with a picture ID with your current address where you're going to co-sign your bond. Okay. He's going to report to pretrial once a month. And he cannot afford to get arrested again. He cannot afford to violate the law, and he cannot afford to not report. You can ask anyone on Zoom who's dealt with me. I never grant a signature bond on a firearm charge unless it's an extraordinary circumstance. And this doesn't even come close to being extraordinary.
Thank you.
He is to be subject to random screens for alcohol and drugs with pretrial services. He is subject to a curfew. What is his school hours?
He graduated. He's out of school right now. He graduated from Youth Challenge Academy.
All right. And okay, so then is he employed anywhere?
Not currently.
Okay. So he is subject to a 24-hour curfew. The only time he can step out is to go to court, to to attend work. If he has a job, then he can step out of the house to go to attend his work. If he needs medical attention or if he needs to go to a church. But otherwise, he stays home and he can learn how to cook. I think YouTube is very beneficial for that. His next court date is February 1st. If he makes bond, make sure that he has a current address with court at all times. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the pretrial bond again?
1,000.
Your Honor, I believe that he is trying to go into Army when he becomes 18, which is April 13, 2024.
Not with this case pending against him.
No problem. Thank you.
Position number 12, Therese.
Real quick, Dennis Murphy is here. We ready for the breakout with sign language interpreter.
Mr. Murphy, are you on the Zoom?
I am now, Judge.
All right, thank you, welcome. Mr. Murphy, we're going to put you in a breakout with Miss Clegg, who is our ASL interpreter, and courtroom 3. So you, courtroom 3, you will see a message, as well as Miss Clegg, you will see a message on the screen to join the breakout. Thank you. I do beg your pardon. Courtroom 2, where was that position number 12?
Correct.
Joshua Torres, 24 CR 405E, accused of battery and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from January 17th, 2024. Mr. Torres, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Keith Cook. You, as I said, you have one charge of battery and one charge of willful obstruction of an officer. Any
Your Honor,
prior?
that's not my case.
Oh, that's not? Okay. Miss
What was the number, Your Honor? I
it's
apologize.
position 12, Joshua Torres.
That's mine, actually.
All
Your-
right, no problem.
Thank
I do apologize, Mr. Cook. You're the only one on video, so if that pops up, I assume.
Well,
So
I'm so telegenic. I know that's a
that's true. What to
great
do?
feature.
All right. Okay, Mr. Torres, your attorney is Miss J. Kim. Mr. Howard?
Just sent the rest. Last arrest was back in September. Ag assault, false imprisonment. It's 23 CP 221930. Open battery DV in state court. It's 23 CR 005 000, 541E as in Edward. 2018 failure to appear. 2016 probation, trespass conviction.
Thank
And
you.
a 20.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. And I'm not sure. Did pretrial mention the open aggravated assault and false imprisonment? That's
Yes,
Superior Court?
23 CP 221930.
Right. In that case, it's the same victim as in this case. Law enforcement was called to 72 Milton Ave, where they met with the victim, Ms. Kamaya Jefferson. She advised that the defendant called her and threatened her if he did not come to his home rather. After going to his home and hanging out, the defendant went through the victim's phone. He did not like what he saw, and he physically attacked her. Law enforcement was called. They did observe a visible knot on the victim's head. The state is asking for, to the one count of battery, we're asking for a $5,000 cash bond. To the obstruction, we're asking for a $1,000 surety bond. No contact with Ms. Jefferson. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And on that open aggravated assault and false imprisonment, he currently is out on a $31,000 surety bond and was already a no contact in place. And that is the basis for the cash bond that the state is seeking.
All right, Ms. Kamaya Jefferson, are you on Zoom? Did you want to address the court? All right, Ms. Kim? Oh,
Hey, yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I couldn't figure it out.
all right. Did you want to address the court?
Yes, I just honestly just
Raise
want
your right
help.
hand. Other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
How did you end up being at his home?
Okay, so since the last incident, back in
That's
September,
not what I asked you.
I ended up at his home because he kept calling my phone, threatening me, and he's a man of his word. And I've been seeking help, and nobody's been helping me. So when he told me to come over, I'll take accountability that I was like went for his tricks. I thought he was gonna change,
That's
and I
fine.
just
Miss Jefferson, that's really all I wanted to know, how you ended up at the house. All right, thank you. Thank you for being so forthright about it. You can mute your phone, please. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 33 years old, and actually his story is different. He was sleeping at home. He didn't expect anybody. However, she came voluntarily to to his house, where he was not supposed to have any contact with her. So he didn't expect that she was going to be there. And then he noticed that she was talking to a police for about an hour, and he was basically sleeping in his place, and he came out only because police was knocking at his door to ask about it, and he had no clue what was going on. He believes he's completely innocent about this case. He wants to fight for that. He's very shocked that this case is actually again even brought up like this. He is gainfully employed at a recycling Fulton Industrial. It's called M&M Waste. He works really hard because he has to pay for child support for his 6 years old child. Your Honor, Miss Jefferson and my client do not live together. And actually, she resides in Lithonia, which is about half an hour to 40 minutes away driving. So, I mean, just because somebody called, even though my client didn't call, let's say he really called, and she doesn't have to come to his house at all. If she was that scared, she should have just called the police right away. That's the part I don't understand. And Your Honor, it's very important for him to support his child because there's nobody else who can take care of him. We would like to request for signature on bond level 4 pretrial. If it is not, otherwise, we would like to ask for a maximum $1,000 good bond for each charge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On the battery is going to be a $10,000 surety bond. on the willful obstruction is going to be a $2,000 surety bond. Total bond is set at 7,000 surety. Next court date is February 1st, 2024 at 9 a.m.
Hold on, what was that amount again?
Yeah, Judge, that doesn't sound right.
You
That
said
doesn't
ten
add up.
thousand.
That was it for first one.
5,000 and 2,000, that's 7,000.
Okay, I thought you said 10 for the first one.
I'm so sorry. 7,000 surety bond. I wrote down 7. Did I say 10?
You
Okay.
did.
Okay,
Yes.
maybe I was still thinking of the $10,000 surety.
Okay. So on the first charge, it's gonna be
Oh, no,
5,000.
you're right, you're right. So $10,000 surety on battery and, my goodness, how did I come up with that math? It was a $10,000 surety on the battery charge and a $2,000 surety on the obstruction. And that's a total of 12,000
Okay, there we go.
surety bond. Next court date is February 1st. Yes, I absolutely agree with Miss Kim, in terms of, Miss Jefferson, you have a responsibility to understand that this is a active criminal case against Mr. Torres, and he's not supposed to have any contact with you. And of course, if he's calling you, your first step is to call the authorities or reach out to victim advocates who can guide you appropriately. Mr. Torres also has the responsibility of making sure that if Miss Kamaya Jefferson does come over, that the door is locked against her because he has a responsibility of staying away from her. So if she comes over, you stay away, lock the door, shut the windows. She doesn't get to come in anywhere near you. Simple as that. But unfortunately, you're the one with the open cases, you're the one with the criminal matters, and you have not only violated the no contact order, but now you've also exposed yourself to the potential of another criminal case against you. $12,000 surety bond. Next court date is February 1st, 2024 at 9 a.m. No contact with Kamaya Jefferson, which means no calls from the jail, no in-person, no indirect contact through a mail, email, third party, phone, computers, or even on social media. Miss Kamaya Jefferson, this is the one and only time I'm going to tell you this, that if you believe that he will make good on his threats, you have to reach out to the authorities or to victim advocates for them to do the right thing. Because if you take it upon yourself, you're just exposing yourself to an imminent threat of harm or death. Thank you. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Thank you.
Position number 9, Kelly.
And Mr. Walker, I mean, you can reach out to the district attorney's office with regards to the violation of the bond in this matter. He's had a prior bond forfeiture set aside in the state court case.
I'm aware, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. What was that case number again? I'm sorry, was that the add-on?
No, this is position number 9, Mr. Kelly.
Okay. Kendrick Kelly is accused of battery, family violence, and reckless conduct from January 17th, 2024. Mr. Kelly's case is 24 CR 403E. Mr. Kelly, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors?
21 total. Set of open 2022 simple battery out of Clayton County. 2021 simple battery, 2012 probation. That's all.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to Donnelly Hollowell Parkway, where they met with the victim, is Shakevius Kimber. She advised that her and the defendant were in a car while she was driving. They had a disagreement, and the disagreement turned physical, at which time he did attack her. He did grab her face with his hands, causing a visible scratch under her left eye. He also grabbed her by the head and held her head down to the center console while she was driving. To the count of battery family violence, the state is seeking a $1,500 surety. To the count of reckless conduct, we are also seeking a $1,500 surety. We're asking for a no contact, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. We would sign for the victim, Ms. Shakevius Kimber.
Ms. Kimber? All right, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client has no objection to stay away from Ms. Kimber, even though there are fiance and they're engaged to marry. If that's the only way that he can get a signature on bond so he can return to his job, that's what we would like to request for, Your Honor. He is gainfully employed at ABF Frightline as a forklift operator. He has to pay child support, a lot of them, every month. There are people who are depending on him, and he graduated from high school. He does not do any kind of drugs or anything else. We would like to request for signature on bond through a pretrial level 3. We do understand that he does have a histories. However, with the Kimber, this is first incident ever, and my client denies the allegation. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Walker, did y'all add the reckless charge after arrest?
Yes, Your Honor, we did.
Okay. On the battery matter, that's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. On the reckless conduct, that's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. The total bond is a $3,000 split bond. No contact with, I'm sorry, just had a name down. They don't live together I'm not sure they live together. Oh, they're engaged, right? Yeah. So unfortunately, have to stay away from his fiance, Shakivius Kimber.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if they are living together, then he cannot be living together with her at wherever they're currently living. I'm assuming that's going to be, well, he's got a court order that he cannot live with her. So he has to make sure that he stay 200 yards away from her and do not communicate with her directly or indirectly through any means, including social media. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And while he's out on bond, he will attend and complete the anger awareness program. And we'll see him in court on February 1st.
Your Honor, can he have a one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit? And also, if he gets signature on bond through a pretrial, he can take 1-day anger awareness course for free. So it does not incur any extra charge.
The reckless conduct's $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services. He will report to pretrial once a month, and he takes the anger awareness class through pretrial. What's the address where he has to do a one-time visit?
1088 Kipling Street, Your Honor.
1088 Kipling Street in what
Yes.
city?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kelly, you are to stay away from 1088 Kipling Street in Atlanta, Georgia. You're allowed a one-time visit with a police officer to remove your personal belongings. Within 30 days of being released from jail, you are to update the court with your new mailing address. But in the meantime, your next court date is February 1st. Thank you. He has a $3,000 split bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, can you repeat the bond amounts again? I'm sorry.
1,500 surety on the battery family violence and 1,500 signature bond through pretrial on the reckless conduct. It's a $3,000 split bond. So he would have to pay at least 1,500 either out of his own pocket or through a bonding company.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Next is position 11.
So when I get up,
This is State versus Bryant McGee, 24 CR 384G. Mr. McGee is accused of simple assault, criminal trespass, and loitering and prowling on January 16th, 2024. Mr. McGee, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney will be Mr. Cook. Is that your client? Okay,
That's mine, Your Honor.
thank you. Any prize, Mr. Howell?
15 total. 2023 ag assault reduced to battery DV conviction. On probation for that, it's 23 SC 187215. couple of probation violations from 2020. 2020 theft by taking, 2017 possession of cocaine with intent conviction. The co-defendant went to court yesterday, got a $4,000 good bond.
All right, thank you. Mr. Walker?
1 second, Your Honor. I didn't realize this was a reset from yesterday.
Yeah, it was Grady, I think.
Yeah.
And Mr. Cook, I'm assuming the co-defendant got a conflict, so.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
He
all right.
with the co-defendant, Brandon was conflicted. That's how we.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. In this case, law enforcement was dispatched to 1065 Ada Avenue, where they spoke to the victim, who advised that he was about to leave his home, where the defendant and the co-defendant was at his front door. He essentially asked them to leave, and they told him that they would not be leaving, and they enter into his home. He left and called police. Things were moved around inside of the home. There is some security concerns for the victim, as he does not know these two individuals, and they forcefully enter into his home, and they were actually they were arrested while they were still inside the location. The state is seeking for a $1,500 surety on each count, a stay away from the incident location, and no contact with the victim.
All right, Mr. Cook?
How many counts would there be there? I'm sorry, what was that total?
There are 3, and that's simple assault, criminal trespass, and loitering and prowling.
And the victim's name is Lentroy Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah.
Coleman.
Your Honor, we have no problem with the stay away and the other conditions. Obviously, we would be seeking something that comports with the with that which was given to the co-defendant.
All right, it's $1,000 surety bond on each count. Stay away from 1065 Ada Avenue in Northwest Atlanta. No contact with I'm trying to Lentory, Lentorry, last name Coleman, common spelling. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And the next court date is going to be February 1st.
Thank you.
Mhm. I'm going to address Mr. Murphy's case in courtroom 3.
Thank you, Judge.
Miss Clegg, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the information you translate will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Murphy, your client's name is?
Brenna Hatfield.
Okay. This is an add-on case?
Yes, and she is hearing impaired. She's charged with criminal trespass and obstruction.
That would be correct. Miss Brenna Hatfield, her case number is 24 CR 000406F. She's accused of these 2 misdemeanor offenses from a January 17th, 2024 incident. Ms. Hatfield, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to communicate to the court during the course of this proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Dennis Murphy. Mr. Howard, are there any prior convictions or arrests in her record?
First arrest, jail would probably be best.
Mr. Graham, what's the state's recommendation?
Thank you, Your Honor. This incident took place over 2 days and in 2 locations. First, on January 16th, law enforcement responded to the Commons apartment complex at 3086 Middleton Road Northwest, Atlanta, where Brenna Hatfield had entered a vacant apartment, which was apartment 442, without the consent of the property management team. On the scene, she falsely told the officer that she was 15 years old and she was pregnant. She also gave the officer a false name. That name was Jade McClellan. Because she told the officer she was a minor and pregnant, she was sent to the Hugh Spalding Children's Hospital. When visiting her at the hospital the following day,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Judge. There was some. I'll be in a better spot in a second.
Okay, if you want to stop your video while you move there.
I'm going to be right there, Judge. And my client is a resident with PAD, and she is 20 years old. She has no other support system other than PAD. She resides at 1700 Lakewood Drive in Atlanta. My client has indicated that she was not the only person there, and she asserts that she did not realize that she was uninvited, but she asserts that she was not the only person there, and that this was just an inadvertency in terms of her being at this premises.
All right, Mr. Graham, I'm sorry you were interrupted. Please conclude.
I'm sorry. Sorry, counsel.
thank you. When the officer did visit Ms. Hatfield at the hospital the following day, it was confirmed she was not pregnant, and her true identity was verified by a picture ID on her phone. She eventually admitted to lying about her name and age, verified the correct information. The state is requesting a signature bond through pretrial. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
All right.
Judge.
I have Miss Jackie Patterson. I think she's with PAD Services. Miss Patterson, is this individual a client with the program?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I will need to confirm. I don't have access to the client database, but I'm able to confirm. I did miss the defendant's name. What's her name?
First name is Brenna, Brenna. Last name Hatfield, one word. Date of birth.
Judge, she has indicated she's 20 years of age.
It's February 15th, 2003. So that would make her 20 or 21?
Almost 21.
And all our other information's on Odyssey.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I don't have any verification that she's a client with the PAD program. And I only have a Tennessee address. Mr. Murphy, do you have a local address for your client?
I do not, other than PAD. She said that my client's indicated that that she is from Tennessee, but she has not resided there in some time.
Okay. On the willful obstruction is going to be 500. On the criminal trespass is going to be 1,000. That's a $1,500 surety bond. Subject to verification that she is definitely a client with PAD and that she has a verifiable address in Georgia. That will be subject to modification. She's to stay away from the entire apartment complex known as the Commons at the 3086, what was it, Middleton Road in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And she's to carry a valid ID with her at all times. Next court date is February 1st.
Thank you, Judge. And Your Honor, if I'm going to visit her and if she's not made bond, will you allow me to try to get with Mr. Jordan to argue again if we're able to verify through PAD?
Definitely. If there's verification, you can reach out to either Mr. Ian Walker or Mr. Chauncey Graham, and perhaps you can get a signature, a joint consent motion, bond order.
Thank you,
Your
Judge.
Honor,
Duly noted. Thank you again.
Ms. Patterson, yes, ma'am?
I was able to confirm that Ms. Hatfield is a participant with PAD.
Okay, and do we have a verifiable address?
The address that was given is actually the PAD's Lakewood office location. I was not able to get a verifiable address.
Okay. Mr. Murphy will need an
Judge,
address.
and I would only, yes, Judge, and I would only say that my client had given me that address because she had gotten mail there before. She was unclear of her exact physical location when she's at the housing through PAD. So I will try to clarify that as soon
There
as
is no
possible.
housing through PAD. She's just using an office as an address.
But she had been a client of them and she was not aware of her other
Understood.
address.
My concern is her alleged identity issue. So I'm going to keep it at that until we get a verifiable address.
Okay,
Those are the
duly
two
noted, Judge.
requirements. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
And Your Honor,
Yes.
may the interpreter be dismissed as well.
Yes, thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Number 7, Gray, and I think you guys are still do a breakout on him.
Who represents Mr. Donald William Gray?
That's Brian Keith Cook, Your Honor. Yes, we'd like to do that in a breakout. There may be some MH issues.
All right. Mr. Donald William Gray, your case is 24 CR 401G. You're accused of theft by taking and criminal trespass causing damage to property from June 23rd, 2023. Your attorney is Keith Cook, and we are going to go into what we call a separate virtual room. You won't see us so that your attorney may speak in confidence on your behalf. Who is going into the breakout? Mr. Walker,
Before
Ms.
we go, can we
Tate,
have
Ms.
pre-trial give the history, please?
Oh, yes. And Ms. Denise. Oh, I was going to count on you, Mr. Walker, but I'll let you.
I'll defer to Mr. Howard. He does such a great job.
There we go. Mr. Howard,
If
there
you
you
ain't
go.
got the history, just say it. I'll give it to you now. You want it
Yes,
now?
please. Yes, please.
Yeah. 38 total, 2023 probation violation, on probation for burglary. He got a multiple burglary convictions. He on a couple of different probations for it now. Also has an open burglary, possession of tools in Superior Court. That's 24 PI 000356.
That's good. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your
Go
Honor.
ahead.
I would hope that if they are free, that Mr. Tyee and Ms. Kim would come in with me on this in the breakout.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Miss Denise, you can put your All right, with regards to Mr. Gray, based on the sidebar conference we've had with your attorney and with the prosecution, and given your criminal history record, your total bond is going to be set at $4,000. It's going to be a surety bond. Your next court date is going to be February 1st at 9 a.m. You have to stay away from the incident location and have no contact with the alleged victim, which is Mr. Brooks. Miss Holly, do you have the full name of the alleged victim?
Yes, Brooke Kenner.
Brooke Kenner, okay. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you. All right, Mr. Graham and Mr. Walker, all the attorneys, I'm just going to go over the calendar. Position number 1, Bell was a $3,000 surety, reset date February 1st. Position 2 is going to be a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial further notice. Position 3 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset February 1st. Position 4 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset date February 1st. Position 5 is a $4,000 surety bond, reset date February 1st. Position 6 is a $1,000 surety, reset date February 1st. Position 7, that is a $4,000 surety bond, reset date February 1st. Position 8 is a $6,000 split bond, $5,000 on the weapon charge and $1,000 signature bond through pretrial with a cosigner and a curfew, and to stay away from the incident location. And that's going to be further notice to February 1st. That was 8. Position 9. That's a $3,000 split bond, and reset date is February 1st. 1,500 surety on the battery, 1,500 signature bond for pretrial on the reckless conduct. Position 10, Ricardo is Lopez is a $4,000 signature bond for pretrial for the notice. Position 11 is a $3,000 surety bond, reset date February 1st. Position 12 is a $12,000 surety bond, reset date February 1st. Position the add-on, Ms. Hatfield's a $1,500 surety, subject to modification upon verification of local address. I think we're good. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. You all have I don't know what day is today. I think it's Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay. And it started on Tuesday. Isn't that amazing? So, all right, folks, y'all have a good one. Have a good evening. Stay warm.